In Transit takes you to the area around Trudeau Airport this morning. Did you know that Montreal's best bird-watching site is located right next to the Trudeau Airport? Turns out airplanes aren't the only thing taking flight in this area, but a new construction site. And by the way, it's a construction site for a facility to manufacture masks. Well, it's been proposed to build a plant there, which means countless birds are in danger of losing their habitat. A group of over 4,000 citizens and scientists are calling for a comprehensive environmental study before the project gets a green light. With more on this, we go to Katherine Collin, co-organizer of Technoparc Oiseaux. Katherine, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, just how far along is this plan for a manufacturing site near Trudeau Airport?
Well, we really don't have a clear timeline. We know that they have finished consultation on the proposed project, and that once the Airport of Montreal and technically Science, Innovation and Economic Development Canada, which is the other authority overseeing the consultation, even though we haven't heard from them, once those two authorities weigh in, construction could begin at any point. We know that plans have been drawn up fairly extensively for construction to begin. We were advised any time after the nesting season was over, so that would be August 15th, which we are now well beyond.
Let's talk about this area, this land near the airport, and just how important it is for birds. I got to say, I was a little surprised. When you think of an airport and all these planes taking off, it's not necessarily a place where I guess you'd want a lot of birds also taking off. But tell me about how it works. Why is this site so important?
Well, so just first to dispel that, that's a very common reflection that people have when they hear that this site of 215 hectares is near the airport. We're talking a good kilometer and a half away from any of the runways. Uh-huh. What makes the site so rich in biodiversity, not just for birds but for all different kinds of species, is the mosaic quality of its ecosystem. So we have wetlands, we have meadows, we have mixed deciduous woods. We have all of these with buffers for each other. So the system as a whole is very interconnected with a wide variety of these different ecosystems, which makes it, of course, ideal for the 209 bird species that have been documented in the area.
209 different bird species, obviously one of the reasons why it's such an important space. We're with Katherine and Collin, co-organizer of Technoparc Oiseaux. Katherine, do you feel that with regards to this project, the deck is stacked against your group because it's not just, it'd be one thing if it was a manufacturing plant for chips, or cookies, mm-hmm. but it's to make masks and obviously we've just gone through a pandemic where we didn't have enough masks at the start of the pandemic. Do you feel that will sway the powers that be to just go ahead with this?
Well, we have tried to argue, and I think anyone who comes to visit the site sees this immediately. In the sector, there are over 20 hectares. We're talking 2 million square feet of available space right now that could be built upon. We are not opposed in any way to the development of a mask material making factory in the area, providing that it's not cutting into the last sweeping, unprotected, non-fragmented green space that we have on the island of Montreal. So by all means, mask factories should go straight ahead, just not over our precious green space.
So it sounds to me like you're saying that there would be land that they could use that is somewhat in the area but wouldn't be as devastating. Do you think compromise is in view in light of that? Do you think compromise is something that could be achieved here?
I think a full inquiry into which lots would be available for building, brown lots and currently asphalted lots, I think that is absolutely something worthy of consideration. We also have 2 million square feet of parking lots in the sector. So to move away from the devastating effects of heat islands that we know throughout Montreal, but particularly in this section of Montreal, we would absolutely encourage them to look elsewhere.
Are any steps being skipped when it comes to environmental assessments, something that's discouraging on that end that you think needs to be rectified?
Well, the study upon which the Airport of Montreal is basing their authorization is something that we, as a citizen mobilization group, as well as numerous scientists and birding groups, have found insufficient. We don't believe that a proper exhaustive study has actually been conducted, certainly not for birds. We ourselves have compiled our own biodiversity report that refutes many of the findings in that somewhat scant environmental studies that provided for the airport. So we would call upon the federal government, in fact, the Impact Assessment Agency, to designate this project as worthy of a much more extensive environmental scan, and to not let the decision lie solely with the Airport of Montreal, who, as we know, has made no secret of the fact that they wish to develop the full 140 hectares that they have under their control.
Katherine, can you tell our listeners as we wrap up here, maybe someone that has always thought, I should go bird watching. This is something I'd get into, or maybe they did it in the past and they didn't know what a resource, what a wonderful site we have available to Montrealers. Can you tell our listeners a story about why this site is so majestic when it comes to the birds, something maybe that you've witnessed?
I first started going to the Technoparc after work. I teach at Vanier College, and I would go out in the winter. We don't consider winter birding necessarily to be the most spectacular birding, but there are feeders that are in the forest, and it's just a magical space. Those people who know the Technoparc area and adjacent federal lands end up really falling in love with it. My most special encounter was with a barred owl in the woods. I was relatively new to doing regular birding, and there was just this majestic barred owl that was about 10 feet off the ground staring straight at me. I was, of course, at a safe distance, not to distress it at all, but it was just one of those magical encounters where you realize that we have this chance to be awed by nature in very close proximity to our everyday busy lives in Montreal. So that's my personal little story. It's maybe not as spectacular as others who've witnessed, these majestic raptors elsewhere. But the Technoparc is just, talk to anybody who goes there, people fall instantly in love with it, and they want to preserve it at all costs.
Well, it certainly, you said people fall in love with it. It certainly sounded romantic as you described that, and let me tell you, that makes the case for me. We'd be
delighted to show you around any time.
Let me tell you, just hearing you talk about it just now, all I'm thinking about in my head is we need to save this place.
Good. Well, that's what we hope will happen, and we can put pressure on our elected officials to make this really an issue for the upcoming elections as well.
Katherine, Collin, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Very grateful. Thank you.
Katherine, Collin is co-organizer at Technoparc Oiseaux.